what would you say if I told you the United States is actually a socialist economy?
I believe it. I believe it. It's been piecemealed, and it's got a bloated welfare state.
And that's the problem with it. That's how we're there.
Yes.
See, that's what I say. He says that we're a socialist, but I think that we're on the bottom end of a mixed economy because I still have the freedom to go out and make X amount of money, and I'm not being hindered yet. What's that?
Do you though?
The taxes are eating us. Even though we've figured out, even though AK, you and I and Chris, we figured out kind of how to carve a space out for ourselves in our professional lives and have that little bit of wiggle room. That's still not much wiggle room.
No,
like it's not.
But, anytime the Fed can go out and decide that your dollar is worth more or less, you don't have the freedom that you just described, Roma.
You always end up having to play their game better than the next guy, whether it's markets or retirement plans
or getting
lucky or working your butt off.
The minute you or I'd say a collective enough of those people figure out how to play that game better than the next guy, they introduce more regulation to make sure that not only you can't survive playing that game better than them, but the next people coming behind you can't do it either. They have to go find yet another way to play this game. It is scary when you actually do a deep dive into thinking about this, how while we are the freest nation on the planet, and I will never say that we're not.
Go ahead.
It's where you put that bar.
So you're talking about like, for example, big market, right? So big pharma, big tobacco, big insert name here. What ends up happening is when they get so big, they want to make sure that they keep their piece of the market, their piece of the pie. So what they'll do is they'll go in and start lobbying for other things, and they get themselves backdoored in or grandfathered into certain things to where you're good, but the other one's not. Perfect example is big tobacco and vaping.
Yep. Bro, that stuff is wild.
Bro, I got two.
Well,
right?
I mean, I would
get into that.
I would use Big Pharma as the actual example, though, Roma, because let's think about this. Anyone can go become a chemist. Anybody can figure out how to piece this drug or that drug together in a chemical compound that might benefit somebody, might not. Let's say you are that independent chemist and you've actually figured out that combination to cure cancer. Can you yourself bring that drug to market?
No. Hell no.
No, because the second you say you have figured that out, Big Pharma is going to swoop in and they're going to offer you all the money in the world. Say, hey, yeah, we want to bring this drug to market. We want to do everything for you. They're going to buy it out from under you and they're going to bury it.
They're going to shelf it. They're going to bury it. They're going to shelf
out of it.
Yep, they're going to shelf it. Because I don't think they're going to bury it, because that would imply that Big Pharma, not saying that they're not doing this anyway or not, allegedly, don't have your best health interest in mind up front, that's a really hard sell, right? So they're not going to bury it. They're just going to take it and they're going to shelf it until they feel like they need it.
Big Pharma does not create cures. They create customers. Because if they cure something, you're no longer going to buy from them. You don't need it anymore. So they're going to either shelf it and keep it saying, well, just not feasible. It's too expensive. We can't do this. Or they're going to find a way to lessen its efficacy to make it so you have to be a long-term customer to receive any sort of benefits from it.
Right.
This is corporatocracy.
It is. And we talked about this.
Corporatocracy. When you have mega corporations that are worth the value of small countries, we're now we're talking something totally different when your organization is big enough that you can lobby the government to do your bidding. We've talked about revolving doors between regulatory agencies. Regulatory captures, big thing RFK talks about.
Yeah, and we also talked about this during remember the 3-part series on the war on drugs?
So
Yeah.
really, Chris, no, I don't think that's what I think we have. We have a corporatocracy, but we have this republic that exists with it. That is the other part of branch of the government is the corporatocracy. We still have and the bloated welfare state. Those two things I think hurt us the most.
And I think the corporatocracy is what makes us socialist, believe it or not.
That makes sense. That makes
Why?
sense.
Because you have these imposed regulations in the workplace, and
Yes,
and,
the government, again, they carved out that piece for them based off their regulations to allow them to continue to exist. But the trade-off is they have to provide these services. They don't get to say no.
Mhm.
You cannot walk into a hospital and get turned away. You may not get the care that you want, but they will give you care.
Mhm.
You can be an illegal immigrant come into this country, contribute absolutely nothing. Your parents contribute absolutely nothing, and you still get to go to school. You see where I'm going with this?
Mhm.
Yeah.